It's the morning star drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the morning star drive, you know.
Hey, how's it going? It is Friday, August 14th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. Today we'll get some coronavirus updates, back to the MBTI segment with Wanchun, and answering question from listeners. So, how are you guys doing today? It is already Friday. It has arrived and we're getting ready for another awesome weekend. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Let's start this off together here on the Morning Star Drive. So keep liking, keep commenting. I want to hear from you guys and see how you're doing. So post your song requests, stories, and questions too, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So remember, this Sunday we'll be meeting Taka from Japan, who is now a missionary in Australia. Looking forward to this fun and amazing interview. He's a missionary, but he also does a lot of artwork too. He even designed one of the album covers for the Sumney Boys. It's going to be a great interview about his life in this history and before. So be sure to check out the interview on the Sunday edition. I hope you guys really enjoy these Sunday edition interviews, really getting to meet each other in an intimate way and see what different members have gone through in their lives before and after coming to this history. I just want to let you guys know also, the Sermons in the Sky playlist is being updated again. There are 4 new videos that are posted in the playlist, so you can get that. You can comment if you need the link, but I know that a lot of people have already saved it. And there will be videos posted up every week, new videos, right? So I'm going to start updating it again, so don't worry. I'm going to update it. Yeah, I've already put up, like I said, 4 new videos are up, and I'm going to keep updating 1 video a week. Now, let's get into the feature. Oh, by the way, for the Sermons in the Sky, I'll make sure the videos are updated every Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning is when I'm going to update those Sermons in the Sky videos. All right, so let's get into the featured artist of the day. Today, I feel like it needs to be like a relaxing Friday, right? Something that we could just relax to. So I picked 3 songs that we can just relax to. Today's featured artist comes from the Paper Music Associates in Korea, and who else better to relax to than Zeniac, the post-rock artist. And this song, first time I'm playing this song on the Morning Star Drive, the song is called Farewell from Cassini. Really, really relaxing song. Second song, also just as relaxing, from Francis Hong of Taiwan, who is now in New York. We're going to listen to a song called Spring Breeze. It's a jazz piece, and it's recorded live at the Queensboro Performing Arts Center. So that's another great song you're going to relax to. And the third one is going to be from the Sumney Boys, Tales of a Longing Heart. Nothing could go wrong. And you can tell by the album, this is a very chill album. So I know that you guys are going to enjoy this song just as much. So everyone, let's keep supporting these artists from around the world. Let's relax and enjoy this music from our members.
could be a fast life, a short life, depending how you living. Nothing could go wrong if I'm with you, it's so fulfilling. And if you keep the time, really God walks with you. Not even just walks with you, he will even talk with you. That is right. Been feeling life is different, everything depends on me. And having my own thoughts, that's really a test to me. The more I make myself, the more valuable I become. I have to take action, that's the final outcome. How could I ever forget the moments that we spent together? It's those past memories that will put you together. It's what you do after the mess up that counts. I give glory and thanks even in times of doubt. Don't just say you have the heart but don't do it. You say you want, you gotta show him and prove it. You have to be a life the Lord really remembers. Don't just walk around for no reason, do better. As long as I have the Lord, then nothing could go wrong. I can't be scared to proclaim it, I have to tell the world. Foot on the gas, pushing the pace as I start this race. I have to get my mind straight so I can become great. The time I have now, I really must cherish. It could be gone at any moment, it really just vanish. I know, it's been a while since I sat and even wrote a song. I wonder if my words sound good or even flow at all. And how I wanna share your words to the entire world. Alright, I'm sorry, let me fix myself. If I think of you, I know I will do well. It's times like these, I know I will prevail. Don't just say you have the heart, but don't do it. You say you want, you gotta show him and prove it. You have to be a life the Lord really remembers. Nothing could go wrong if we do it together.
And that was Nothing Could Go Wrong, and that's from the Sumney Boys. That's from the new album, Tales of a Longing Heart. And man, those other first two songs were just amazing too. Zeniac, of course, whoever that is, I've never met. I don't even know if it's a him or a her. Amazing. Farewell from Cassini. Great song. That second song was live, and you could hear people clapping when when the sax was playing, they'd finish their solo and everyone would be clapping, the piano, and everyone would be clapping. So yeah, that was recorded live at the Queensborough Performing Arts Center. That's Francis Han with I believe it's called the World Jazz Quintet. I believe that's what it was called. All right, so let's get into once again, awesome. Thank you. I'm just really amazed. Actually, I want to say this one more time. I'm so amazed by some of the artists not some, all of the artists in this history. Like, there's really, really amazing, and they're like all genres. So I'm really happy that we have so many things to choose from. All right, so let's move into our coronavirus updates for the day. So at the moment, we're still getting close to 21 million, but 20 million cases around the world with 748,000 deaths, which means we're at 3.58% in the mortality rate, the world mortality rate. And across the board, everyone is going down in their mortality rate except for Argentina. Okay, so the U.S. has 5.3 million cases with 169,000 deaths at 3.15%. So I'm hoping that by the end of the weekend we'll be close to 3 or maybe under 3%. That would be amazing. Brazil, 3.1 million cases, 104,000 deaths, and they're catching up really quickly at 3.29% mortality rate. India, 2.4 million cases, 47,000 deaths at 1.95%. Peru, 498,000 cases, 21,000 deaths at 4.36%. Colombia's at 422,000 cases, 13,000 deaths at 3.27%. Of course, Argentina, the only country with a rising mortality rate is 268,000 cases, 5,200 deaths at 1.95%. The Philippines, they're not going up anymore. 147,000 cases, 2,400 deaths at 1.64%. And Sweden constantly going down, 6.88% now, and Belgium at 13.09%, and we're really hoping for Belgium to go under 13% by the end of the weekend. Let's look at the daily infection rates. India's on top with 67,000 cases at 3%. Brazil's second with 58,000 cases at 2%. And the U.S. has dropped to third for 2 days straight, and that's 54,000 cases at 1%. Colombia at 3% with 12,000 cases. Peru at 8,800 cases with 2%. And last but not least is Argentina with 7,600 infections at 3% growth rate. Which means what? Which means now it is time for us to listen to, what is it? We're going into you guys got it. It's going to be the MBTI 16 Personalities segment with Wonchun. I hope that you guys will really enjoy this. I have so much good feedback from everyone who says they love it. So let's listen up. Wonchun and the MBTI 16 Personalities.
Yo guys, this is Wanchan. Hope you had an amazing week. We've got another segment of MBTI again today. And if you guys haven't been following, MBTI stands for the Myers-Briggs Personality Type Indicator. And so if you guys want to do a test, this test online, and figure out your personality, go to 16personalities.com and you can do the test. And basically you fit into one of 16 types or personalities, and from there you can kind of figure out your strengths and your weaknesses. And for me, like, I'm a real advocate for figuring out what kind of people we are and what are our strengths and how we can develop ourselves, and also looking at our weaknesses. And this is a great tool to be able to do this, so I recommend it. I hope you guys can figure out who you are, as well as all the rest of us. So cool. Anyway, so I've covered, we did kind of set of 3 so far, and out of 4. First set was figuring out about these letters, about extroversion and introversion. So you do the test and you get either extrovert or introvert for these first 2 letters, and we figured out what that meant. And we talked about the second 2, which were sensing or intuition. And then we talked about feeling or thinking. And today we're going to talk about the perceiving or the judging functions. All right? Now, just like I talked about extroversion and introversion, it's not just like, oh, so you get E for extrovert, then you're an extrovert, like classic extrovert that likes to be out in the world, and you like to do all these types of things in the world, and that's how you need to meet people, and if you're an introvert, then you like to sit in your house and blah blah blah. It's not like that with the MBTI world or this test, so it's a little bit different. And so just like that with the perceiving and the judging as well, you don't just look at that as a standalone letter or like meaning for like one of these 4 parts. Now, like I talked about the extrovert and introvert, what this applies to is let's say you're extroverted. That means it applies to your first cognitive function. So you have 4 cognitive functions, as well as these 4 letters that you get, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the E applies to that first cognitive function. Your first cognitive function is extroversion, or if you're an introvert, then your first cognitive function is an introverted one. Cool. So now the P or the J at the end, it lets you know if the first extroverted function, so everybody, not about if you're extrovert or not, but your first extroverted function, the real world function, the extroverted function, is it a J or is it a P function? Is it a judging or is it a perceiving function? So as we know, the judging functions are feeling and thinking. Okay, judging is either feeling or thinking, and then the perceiving functions are sensing or intuition. So in the MBTI world, if your first function of 4 is extroverted, then your second is introverted. Okay, it's always like this. Or the other way around is that if your first is introverted, then your second is extroverted. For example, we have an ESFP. And to know what comes first is it's the first extroverted function. What people can see is going to be the perceiving function. Okay, so that P is at the end, right? We've got ESFP, so the first extroverted function is going to be perceiving type. Okay, so with the ESFP, extroverted comes first, and sensing is the perceiving function. So the first cognitive function is SE. Make sense? Okay, for another example, we got an ISFJ. Just say you're ISFJ. The first function is introverted, so the judging function will go second, not first. The judging function is feeling or thinking, but for them it's a feeling, and that's going to be the extroverted, so FE. But the first function, being introverted, is sensing, a perceiving function, so SI. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? So you guys got to do the test and then probably listen to this. It'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, now to make it even more complicated, we got an ISFP. Now the first extroverted function will be a perceiving function. So ISFP, the P is at the end, and their first extroverted function will be a perceiving function. And so since they are introverted, it's their second function, okay? Because the extroverted has to be second if they're an introvert. That makes sense? Which is SE. And their first main function is their judging function, which is the introverted feeling, FE. Makes sense, right? Easy, huh? So the first functions we see are extroverted because it's in the real world, but the introverted functions are all in our inner minds, in our hearts, right? So the ISFP being FI and SE has the same functions as the ESFP, but they're just flipped around, with their main function being SE and second being FI, also flipped around. Okay, so most people, they don't realize that those two last letters, the J and the P, are supposed to decode all of the whole type. But people, they just think that, and they think that it describes one part of 4 things about them. And, to be specific, like a judging type, if you're a judging type, maybe that makes you to be a more action-orientated, because you're feeling or thinking, and you're more ordered, and this is your main function, right? And a perceiving type is more loose. So maybe if you're a P, then you're more loose and you think and like more spontaneously, and you're more flexible, or like you're less action orientated. And this could kind of loosely be true, but you can't just take the P and the J and assume everything about somebody. And you have to look at the functions and see how they live in, or how they act in the real world. So the judging type means you have extroverted feeling or thinking in the first 2 functions, which is theoretically means that you are more action orientated in the real world. But if you're a perceiving type, which means you're extroverted intuition or extroverted sensing, and it means since you're a perceiving type, that you're not so much about taking action, but you're more interested in gathering information because you're a perceiving type. Okay, so the J doesn't just mean you're organized, and the P doesn't just mean you're flexible or spontaneous or something. So it's not just describing specific things, as well as as the extroverted and introversion is. Like that's not. Okay, so those are the last two letters, and they're the key to understanding the type. So I hope this all makes sense, and I made this a little bit longer than last one because I missed last week. So guys, if you guys want to learn more about this stuff, you can go to 16personalities.com, do the test there, learn about what kind of types there are. And if you want to learn about the cognitive functions, go to psychologyjunkie.com, or you can also find some other websites you can learn about this kind of stuff. Anyway, peace out, guys. Have an awesome week. God bless. See you later.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wanchan, for a wonderful and awesome segment on the MBTI. I know a lot of people were telling me like, wow, it's so interesting to see what kind of character I am. So guys, I recommend you go ahead and check out that 16personalities.com and take your test and see what 4 letters you are. And if you take that test, you're going to have much more fun listening to it. Like, oh, that's what this means. And that's what this means too. All right. So let's move into a time of praise, a time we can praise and give glory to the Holy Trinity here on this last day of the work week. It is Friday, and thank God it is. We're going to have, like I said, it's relaxed and chill Friday. So we're going to have some songs to sing to. We're going to start with I Have Found a Treasure. We'll go To the Lord, and then the last song will be Words of Life. So let's all give glory to the Holy Trinity.
I have found a treasure shining bright. Here I am, standing in that place. In my heart I'm singing praises of great thanks, and the Lord's love rises from deep within. Love fills my heart and overflows. With the Lord's condition we can see this blessed history. Forever I'll be thankful to you, Lord. In this place that you've prepared for us, I have found a treasure here. My love will burn, it will never change. I give love and praise to the Trinity. You've given me so much, so with all my heart and mind, I'll live for the Lord, I'll live for His will. This history of life I will surely fulfill. Now the time that God has set has come, and He has blessed us with treasures. In my heart I'm singing praises of great thanks, and the Lord's love rises within my heart. Love fills my heart and overflows. To you I've received the gift of blessings from the Lord. Rise up and be a standard for this time. Don't lose the heart you had at first. Know the value of the the Trinity. You've given me so much, so with all my heart and mind, I live for the Lord. I live for His will. This history of life I will surely fulfill. I give love and praise to the Trinity. You've given me so much, so with all my heart and mind, I live for the Lord. I live for His will. This history of life I will surely fulfill. I give thanks to you. Oh, how I love you, Lord. You love me so much. And because you love me so, I receive this gift, this treasure of lasting love, a treasure that never fades. I'm so grateful, my Lord. I'm so grateful, my Lord. I'm so grateful, my Lord. Now that I've come to know the Lord, I fulfilled God's perfect will of love. Now I live always filled with joy, and every day I live my life walking with the Lord God. I am keeping His word each and every day. Rising up higher each day, rapturing with love. This life fills me completely with perfect joy and hope. Every day and every hour, when I converse with you, my Trinity, transcending time and space, I will gain many things in reality. Beaming with joy and hope evermore. These days of providence go Rising up higher each day, rapturing with love. This life fills me completely with perfect joy and hope. Every day and every hour, when I converse with you, my Trinity, transcending time and space, I is you and the things you want to do. How I wish to love you more. I love you, love the word, and I value what you speak. But sometimes my first heart grows distant and weak. Once again, I will set my mind and pray, so my thoughts won't slip away. How I wish to love you more. Lord, I know that each day upon your knees you cry out till you can't speak. God, I pray, if you'd only give one word, I will preach to all the world. Lord, I plead for your heart.
And that is, wow, that song is The Words of Life. Man, if you listen to those lyrics, the lyrics are so deep. Uh, yeah, because I don't think we usually sing that song as a praise song, but man, getting rid of all my perspectives and my ideals. Poof. Yeah. It's a really interesting, yeah, like just the concept of getting rid of all the things that are inside my heart that are not belonging to the Lord. And I think that's something that we have to kind of search ourselves all the time about too. Oh, wow. So yeah, for me, I really enjoyed those songs. Yeah, I have found a treasure to the Lord and the words of life. But that last one hit me hard because I don't listen to that song as much as the other songs because we don't usually sing that normally as a praise song. But that song's so good. All right, so let's go into the word study of today. And it's Friday, of course, and we have a question and answer. And we have a really good question because it's a question that I think a lot of us struggle with. And a lot of us, and this has nothing to do with ourselves. This is more of like, well, this is about, when we have newcomers at church and they learn the word and they learn everything and they finish everything, but they don't really give their life up for the Lord. You know what I mean? Like we've had those people before where like it's such a struggle. It's like pulling teeth to get them to come to church, to listen to the word. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like all this love that they've gotten from the Lord and they can't realize deeply, and they rather spend more time with their friends and family or their their colleagues and stuff. So it's something like, how do we help these people realize more better, right? I don't know, that's wrong English. How do we make them realize better? How do you make them realize the word so that they can put their priority as God is number one? And I do think there are some things that we do have to kind of take into consideration, and of course a lot of it lies in our hearts. Because the question is, do they need to give up friends and family and work and school? And the answer is some of it, yeah, but some of it, no. Because they shouldn't give up their family. Like, why would they give up their family? Unless they're like telling them like they can't. Like, unless they try to like lock them in their houses and such. But in a lot of cases, it's not like this. And work, you got to go to work, and you have work functions and stuff. School, you have projects and studying. Like, you should be doing those things, right? And like, should they be only listening to the word, only coming to services, and only spending time with church people? And of course that would be nice, but that's not the case in the beginning either. So I think before to answer this question well, before helping them to realize better, first we need to understand that everyone has their own time of learning and realizing. Right? And realizing, we know that even in our lifetime, or when we came to this history, realizing wasn't an instant thing, right? Because some of us I took 8 months to realize the word. Some people took 10 months. Some people took a year. Some people like 2 years. And what's even more interesting is it took me 8 months to realize the word, but that was like head realization. And then there's like the heart realization that takes a little bit more time, when you can really be convicted by the word and just really, lay down everything for the Lord. And I think that we have to first understand that everyone has their own time of realizing in their hearts. And not just understanding what the word is saying, because that's just in your head. But much bigger than this, it's about giving people a chance and a time so they can realize in their hearts. Because realizing your heart is like that tremendous realization. You know who the Lord is in this history that we're living in. But I think what's even bigger is knowing who you are in this history also. And this is what causes us to act and do amazing things, but it takes time. So the first thing we have to realize that everyone has their own time and their moment that they realize, and they'll come into this history much more deeply. So that's the first thing. Second thing I also think we need to understand is like expectation. Right? Like, we will do like a 40-day prayer condition. At the end of the 40 days, you're like, what? How come nothing changed? Nothing. I did so much for this person, but nothing changed. Like, I prayed 40 days for them, but nothing happened. Right? And I do think that we kind of got to get our minds out of like the vending machine faith and mentality, which is, I did 40 days, so there has to be change. Something must happen. But you know what? What if this person needs 110? What if they need 500? What if they need 200? Like, it's hard for us to say that they 40 and done. Like, that's to say that we're God, that we know exactly how much they need. So we need to pray for them without expectation of time. And I do think that, yeah, setting conditions is great, but even more than setting condition is just setting the condition of praying for them until things get better. Right? to, we have to have that love for these people that doesn't require us. Oh, there's a mosquito in here. Did I catch it? No, I didn't. Darn it. Gosh, I hate mosquitoes. They always bite me. Right? Sorry. So we need to have that basic caring of people and loving of people, like God's love for this person. And I believe that really talks about caring for people without expectation. Like really caring, like loving them without expectation, which means what? Like expectation of results. Like, what does that mean? It means that, oh, I did all this for you, so how come you didn't change? And I think that's a little bit disingenuous. It's like, it's disingenuous, as in, that couldn't be love, right? That if I give you 5, you must give me 5 back. Like, I don't think that's love, right? It's kind of disingenuous to say that that's real love. Like, taking care of people and loving people with God's love without expectation of a result or a merit. Right? I talked about this before. Is I don't really like it when it's like we treat people according to, did they come to pre-dawn or not? Did they come to Sunday service? Did they listen to the word or not? And I think that's very disingenuous to say that that is the real type of love, right? Because in reality is, these people really don't have to do anything, right? They don't have to listen to us. They don't have to give back. They don't. They have a choice. They have, they don't have to do everything we say. And we have to realize that they don't have to. Right? And it's not for us anyways. We are not the bridegroom of God. We are doing it for them so they realize about God, so that it's their relationship with them and God, not them and us. Right? Relationship is about choice. People can choose not to date that person, not to marry that person. They have to choose if they really want to be with God. And our role is to show them the love of God, and not to say, oh, look what I did. It's more of, this is how much God loves you. And we really don't have any control of this. And we can only aid and help them in this matter. And I think if we can have that mentality of true love for people. I kill it? Dang it. Sorry, guys. There's this mosquito in here, and it keeps coming to me, and it's scaring me a bit. Yeah. But we need to have that realization that this love has to be genuine, as in, when you look at how God loves people, and one of the greatest examples of this was the prophet Hosea, who was told to marry a prostitute, a harlot, right? And he would have to go marry her, and then she would go off and go out with other men. Then he'd have to bring her back. And she kept doing this. And basically God says, this is how much I love you guys. No matter how many times you go away, I still love you that much. Right? And think about that. There's no merit in cheating or going to other men, right? When your wife goes to another man, or your husband goes to another woman, right? There's no merit in that, but the love is so powerful, it doesn't make a difference. And we need to be the ones that can really love people genuinely, and even with members and newcomers, we got to love them so much to the point that they can see in the future, like, wow, they really love me. God really loves me this much. And they realize deeply through it. And this is what happens, especially when it comes to like the former faith. That's how people realize. Like, when they realize what they've done to God, they realize God is real. And when they hear the story of the gospel of Jesus dying on the cross, they realize how much they've been loved, and they just didn't realize it, right? And that's what moves them to come into the history of the New Testament. And if this is genuinely the history of love, we have to show that unconditional love that God has for all people. And we got to have that heart that doesn't want to see a single person go to the domain of death. So I do think that we don't want to be the ones that are upset because we did all this for them and they haven't responded. Because I think there's a very humanistic thought, right? I did this for them, so they must do this for me. No. We have to have that genuine shimjung of upset for God, realizing God's shimjung, how much God wants to save this person, right? The heart of God, realizing when people don't respond to him. And that's like a better and a deeper way of seeing how much God is really loving us. So we can't control, but we do our best to help someone come to the Lord. But there's no real control that we have, which means that we don't really have a big expectation for it, right? The expectation is not going to be as big. And ultimately, it is up to that person whether they want the relationship or not. So, before treating this person really well and helping them to realize the word. Oh, one last thing is, make sure, like with newcomers and members, like I'm really someone who is about, like, I want to make sure that people are not just meeting only for spiritual things, right? Because, some people aren't ready for that yet. They're really not, if you think about it. Like, some people are not ready to, they're just not ready to be that spiritual all the time, if you think about it, right? Should people be spiritual all the time? No, we have a physical body. We need entertainment. We need other things like that too. But if we only take newcomers for spiritual things, it's kind of like they're like, oh no, here they come again. They're going to tell me to listen to the word. Oh, here they come again. They're going to tell me to pray. No, we need to have this all-around relationship with these members and these newcomers, where we have genuine relationships. And the one thing I'm going to tell you right now is, this is a rule that I like to put in. I call it the 3 R's, which is rules without relationships equals rebellion. And what that really means is if you have no relationship with this person, all you do is just keep telling them to do things like listen to the word, come pray, come do this, why don't you come to church, why don't you, like, you're telling them to do things, but there's no genuine relationship between the two of you, then that person is more likely not going to listen. Why? Because they don't know if you really care for them or not, or you only care about, do you come to church or not, right? And I do think we have to be bigger than that, right? Much, much bigger than that, okay? So that's going to bring us into our time of the song of choice. And it's a request today. Request all the way from Vancouver from Melanie Backer. And she says she wants to listen to a song from Josh Groban. I love him too. When he first came out, I bought his album also. Josh Groban. The song that she requests is Bigger Than Us, and that's from his most recent album that came out in 2018 called Bridges. This guy was discovered by David Foster. He was a #1 best-selling album in all the U.S. in 1 year, right? So you got to understand how popular he was. And I think it was like 2007, around that time. He was a #1 selling artist in all the U.S., which is huge, right? I think he sold something like 28 million albums or something like that. But yeah, that's how big he was. And he's just an amazing singer. He's an amazing singer, right? So let's listen to this song, requested once again from Melanie Backer, all the way there in Vancouver. So let's listen to Josh Groban, and he's going to sing the song Bigger Than Us.
Trying to cope, I'm looking for hope, and I think about what's come of us. It's all too much. I feel so small with my hands up to the sky. I am reaching out tonight, 'cause this is bigger than us. This is bigger than us, bigger than us. It's like everything changes, still nothing changes. We arrive where we began. We're running in circles, searching for purpose with an open hand. What's come of us? This is bigger than us, bigger than us. And we lose ourselves in battles we are fighting. Gotta break away. than us. I give my all, but it's just too much to hold. No, I can't do this alone, 'cause this is bigger than us, bigger than us.
And that is Bigger Than Us from Josh Groban. I hope you guys really, really like that song. Thank you so much. The request from Melanie Backer all the way over there in Vancouver. Really appreciate the requests. Keep sending them in. I want to hear what you guys really, really want to hear also. So that brings us into the last portion of today. And the last portion today, what's going to be? It's going to be about, what is it? It's going to actually be a story. A Bible story, and I know that a lot of us really, really like these stories. So today we did Deborah yesterday, right? So Deborah was yesterday, so today we're going to go into someone named Samson, okay? Samson. Does everyone here know who Samson is? Samson, Delilah. Everyone knows this story, right? Samson, Delilah. They're the, it's the one with the guy with the long hair and everything else like that, right? So if you, I'm going to go a little bit more deeper into this, but not a lot, but just so that everyone can understand, get a general idea of the story. Because I know that sometimes it's hard to read the Bible, or we might not read it as much as we should, but I want you guys also to be really, really good at reading the Bible. Really good. Be good at reading the Bible. All right, so let's go into the story of Samson. So before Samson came into the picture, they were being oppressed, and they were being cruelly oppressed by the Philistines. And this is about 100 years after Gideon. And 40 years, the Philistines were oppressing the Israelites. And once again, we go to a very similar theme of a childless mother. And in this case, she's from the tribe of Dan. And then an angel appears and says, she will give birth to a son. No wine, no fermented drink. You cannot cut your hair. And this child would become a Nazirite, someone dedicated to God from the womb. And the angel said that this boy will deliver Israel from the Philistines. Now, for those of you who don't know, a Nazirite, right? What is a Nazirite? It's the name of an Israelite that takes the vow. And this is prescribed in the book of Numbers chapter 6. And what this vow is are three things. Number one, no wine or strong drink. Number two, refraining from cutting the hair off the head during the whole period of the continuance of the vow. And the avoidance of contact with the dead. Now, it's interesting because right here we're saying, so they don't cut their hair until the continuance of the vow. So there's a time limit. And the answer is yeah, because usually there's a duration of a Nazirite's vow, right? And everyone had their liberty to fix their own time. So this was also mentioned in the scriptures too. But there were only 3 Nazirites who were Nazirites for life. And that was Samson, Samuel, and John the Baptist. But ordinarily, people would take a Nazirite vow for 30 days, and at most 100 days, right? So this institution of the Nazirite was a symbol of a life devoted to God and separated from all sin and living a holy life. Now Samson grew, and he was blessed by God. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir in his heart. One day he saw a Philistine woman, and he went to his parents and says, that's the woman of my dreams, and I want to marry her. And the parents were like, hey, don't you have any Israelite woman that you like? Why this Philistine woman? And he's like, no, she's the one. And even though the parents were against it, they didn't realize that this was actually God's doing. There needed to be a reason to come against the Philistines. Now, one day, as he was walking towards his wife's house, he was with his parents. Well, his parents weren't actually there with him, but he was attacked by a lion in the vineyard, and he tore this lion apart with his bare hands, just as easily as tearing a young goat. Now, honestly, guys, I have no idea how easy it is to tear a young goat with your bare hands, but I'm thinking that's just as hard. But Samson didn't tell his parents what happened. And a few days later, as he was passing that lion carcass, he saw bees and honey inside the carcass. And he ate it, and he gave some to his parents too. But he didn't tell them where he got it from. So, as he's marrying this Philistine woman, he went down to the Philistines and had a feast, which is common that he had to do, especially when he's going to marry someone. And what they did is they chose 30 companions for him. And he decided to have a bet, a wager. And he gave them a riddle. And he wagered to these 30 companions. He says, okay, let's do this riddle. And if you can get this riddle, I'll give you 30 sets of linen garments and 30 sets of clothing. Now, he says, you got 7 days. And these men were just trying to figure it out. But on the 4th day, they went to Samson's wife. And they said, if you don't find us the answer, we're going to burn down your parents' house. We're going to kill your parents too. So she was blackmailed. So eventually, Samson told his wife, and the wife told the 30 men on the 7th day. And they gave him the right answer, and he was so angry because he knew what happened. And he went down to another place, struck down 30 men, and took their clothes and gave it to the men as the wager prescribed. And then he was so angry, he just went home. Later, he comes back to visit his wife. But the father-in-law thought that he was so angry that he didn't love the wife anymore, that he gave the wife to another friend. So Samson was so angry. He caught 300 foxes. I'm not sure how he did that, but he caught 300 of them, tied their tails in pairs, fastened a torch to it, set it on fire, and he made the foxes run loose in the fields of grain of the Philistines. When the Philistines heard about this and who did it, then they burned the house down of his wife and his father-in-law in retaliation and killed them. Samson was even more upset, and he slaughtered many of them, and then he went to go hide in a cave. The Philistines gathered together, and they went to Judah to find Samson. They said, hey guys, we want Samson. This is what he did. And they said, turn him over. And the Israelites said, okay, we'll turn him over. There's no point for all of us dying for this one person's sin. So 3,000 men of Israel got together, and they went to the cave and said, Samson, it's time to go. And he said, as long as you don't kill me, I'm fine. So they tied him up, and they promised not to kill him. And when he was handed over to the Philistines, they said he broke through the ropes, grabbed the fresh jawbone of a donkey, and killed 1,000 men. So now the Philistines were trying to find more reasons how to kill Samson. And one day, Samson fell in love with a woman. Her name was Delilah, this beautiful woman. And the Philistines found out about this, and they bribed her with lots of money. They said, you'll never have to worry about money again. So 3 times she tried to get the secret of Samson's strength, but all 3 times he lied. But finally she begged and wept. And the 4th time he tells her the secret, that if you cut his hair, his strength will leave him. On that 4th time, they cut his hair. He lost all of his strength. The Philistines came in, seized him, and gouged out his eyes. And they made him grind the grain in prison. Now one day, all the rulers of the Philistines assembled to worship their god Dagon. They called out Samson to make fun of him. And all the rulers of the Philistines were there saying, who is this? Look at this. He was the great Samson that now we've captured him. And Samson was leaning against the central pillars of that temple. And he prayed his last prayer. And he said, God, just give me strength this one last time so that I can take revenge on my enemies. And after that prayer, he pushed those 2 central pillars with all his might. and the entire roof came down and killed all the rulers of the Philistines. And he killed more people in that one shot than he ever did in his entire lifetime. He was buried with his fathers, his father and his father's fathers, and he ruled over Israel. He was a judge for 20 years. All right. And that is the story of Samson. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I hope that we can leave on really good note, knowing that God has always been taking care of us, and God has been using the people He sends, just like God took care of Israel through Samson. Today, at this time, God has sent us the person of mission to take care of us each and every day. All right. So I hope you guys really enjoyed today's last podcast for the week, and I hope you guys will just have an amazing weekend together with the Holy Trinity. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining us here on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. So we'll see you guys again.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like